Well, technical difficulties, but we figured it out. Some user error on my part, but we are here. Hopefully, y'all will be over in a minute. For those of you who didn't get the right link, I apologize. That's on me. I completely messed up the first link because I didn't have the equipment set up early enough. So, yeah. But we here. We here, family. We here. We here. We here. Welcome, welcome to those of you who are going to be coming through in a moment here. So we're just gonna give y'all some time to pull up since I messed up everything. Um, yeah, we're gonna have to delete the other live. Melissa, peace, peace. What's going on, my sister? Thanks for pulling up. I apologize. There's a lot going on right now. Oh, why does my camera look like this? This is crazy. We having some little hiccups over here, but we trying to figure it out. How are you? I'm so proud of you, by the way. You've been crushing it. I've been watching you do your thing. Oh, so proud of you. Can you hear me well? Let me know in the chat because my setup is just so there we go. That's much better. My setup is a little wonky today. A little wonky. Did a whole I just didn't have nothing set up, but it's all good, man. We just going with the flow. Yes, we can hear you. Love that. Love that. Cool. Thanks for pulling up. I'm so excited. This is gonna be a good one. You know, um, crazy, Melissa. How like our season, our Cancer season went by so quickly. Now we in Leo season. Like, oh man, it went by so quickly. I feel like birthday was here and then it was gone. Like, damn. um, but I hope Cancer season, went well for you. Went well for me. Now it's Leo season. Can you believe y'all? It's August already. Like time is flying. Time is freaking flying. My God, it's about to be fall soon, but we just got to be present and in gratitude because, whew, this shit right here, it's getting kind of thick, y'all. Getting kind of thick. So as you know, it's customary to give people a few minutes, but at this point, I'm really late, and it's probably time just to get started. And whoever's here is just gonna have to catch it. You feel me? Unfortunately, I messed up on the link, so some of the links maybe people didn't see it. So hopefully, if they're followers, they'll find it. Hi, peace, Brittany. Thanks for always showing up. I know, right? I can't believe how the time is going too, but every season is ours, and let's not talk about the fall. You're right. Listen, this fall going to be crazy. It's going to be a very interesting, fiery fall, in my opinion. I think when we did the 2024 abundance, like reading for the year, me and B, when we did that, I think we touched on the fact that like it's going to be a lot of fire energy during the year, and I kind of just feel intuitively, knowing what's coming around with election time and stuff like that, like it's going to be a really interesting time for us all, for sure, for sure, for sure. But let me go ahead and just get started at this point. And then whoever can catch it, hopefully they catch the rewatch. Yeah. Yeah. um Cool. So let me just pull up my notes. Need to pull up my notes, guys. 2 seconds. Thank you for your continued patience. I appreciate you all. Yes. All right. Oh, that ain't the right one. Nope, this ain't the right one either. There we go. Let's get this out of full screen mode. Then we're gonna do a side-by-side situation. One tile here, one tile there. All right, let's get it. Like the video, share the video with someone that you think would enjoy this. Peace, family. Welcome to the Spiritual Gems podcast, where we perceive reality from a higher perspective with a higher mind, and share gems along the way. So happy to have you all with me. It's been a wonderful, wonderful journey. And this live is a good message, I think, today that Spirit had for us this week. It's kind of like a time for a reset with Chiron finally getting into retrograde on July 26th, a few days ago. So a lot of us are feeling the energy of that. And so with that, in this pre-saddle phase and now it's live phase, a lot of things from our past, a lot of things from our deep wounds, from childhood and beyond, just in our past in general, are kind of like being, murked up and muddied and brought up right now within us in a multitude of ways. And we're really being asked to stretch right now from the divine. And I think that it's going to take a lot of awareness and a lot of healing and some action too. This isn't necessarily a time to not take action, not to wait. I mean, this is a fiery season that we're in Leo season now, right? We really got to stand up and focus on the self, you know. And so, yeah, it's time for us to be prideful. It's time for us to step into who we really are. You know what I mean? But in order to do so, we got to kind of face some of the things that are coming up during this time and period. So I found myself, not only working with my internal things, but the people around me have been really going through some challenging times within themselves. But the theme that's been reoccurring these days is that, we're kind of getting in our own way, right? Like we're no longer in a time and space where we are being limited by life. Like, there's nothing black in us, right? Like, slavery mentality, all those things that we kind of hold on to because of society in the West, etc. Right? Like we're not in slavery anymore, right? But a lot of us are in these mental shackles, so to speak, these mental cages, right? Um, was doing an exercise with someone this week, and we were doing a meditation together, and we got some really dope things from their team, and the visual that their team gave them was so interesting, and I just thought it was so symbolic, right? This person was a giant, but like they're being shrunken into a cage, right? Being sort of enwrapped and entrapped in this cage. And I think many of us kind of feel like that right now, me included. There's so much that I want to do. And it's like my soul is telling me, like, hey, there's so much like opportunity out here for you if you so choose, right? And this is why I think we're feeling this right now. We're realizing where the limitations um, and the shackles that we've been putting on ourselves, that we must now free ourselves from. And so, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And then I have some visual things that I felt called to share that came across um, as well. And just some other things that I want to talk about as well. So, as far as like messages from the divine, I'll just kind of go through these quick bullet points and then we'll start going into some videos. Okay. Yes, I wonder if I shouldn't skip at ATL and head straight to Seychelles, Africa. Listen, listen, we all belong on somebody's beach. You hear me? Seychelles, I know they have some beautiful beaches, like gorgeous beaches, like stuff that you see in the movies with like the boulders on the beach, and you're like, yo, that's crazy, that's fire. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Yeah. Let's see. So messages from the divine. So as I was talking about with this visual of us being in this cage, right? In this jail cell that we're putting ourselves into, but we're like hunched over in it, right? It's almost like we're in this squished box. And life is happening outside of it. And we need to be in that space in order to expand. So spirit is like, yo, it's time for you to expand, right? You know, the reason why many of us have been feeling stuck or boxed in is because, like I said, our limiting beliefs, right? Like we're putting our shackles on ourselves and it's stopping us from really living the abundant life that we deserve to live. Now that we're becoming more and more aware of that, it's time for us to really begin to take action, right? But here's the thing, your ego is, and your mind is going to fight you the entire time. You're not going to want to do it. It's like, you know what you need to do at this point, right? Many of you, if I were to ask, like, hey, what do you feel like you're supposed to be doing? You'll get that idea, like, hey, I'm supposed to be posting content, let's say. And it's just like, okay, we'll post the content. But then you'll be like, but I don't know what to post. And then we'll be like, well, what do you think you should post? Well, you might say, like, I've gotten a download to do this, download to do that, download to show me painting, whatever it is, or talk about the process of my music, whatever it is that you've been sort of called to do. But like there's an inner resistance there, and that's your ego, right? That's you're wanting to be safe, you know. um Britt gave me a really good example when, in our conversation today, because everything is just so amazing how spirit just reveals so many things to me. And she gave me this visual. She was like, it's almost like an infant crawling, right? We've been in this baby stage and we want to kind of keep crawling, but like, no, like it's time to take steps. It's time to stand up, right? It's time to start walking. But our fear is that what happens when we fall? Well, it's okay. You just get right back up. If you look at babies, they look at you to see how they should react. Depending on how you react, they either are going to be like, all right, okay, I'll do it again, or they might start crying. But either way, they're going to keep going. They're going to keep trying to eventually walk. And so this is the type of attitude that we need to have going forward, right? Like just take the steps, take the small steps, and eventually you'll be running. See what I'm saying? Peace, YB. Peace, fam. Thanks for pulling up. Yo, thanks, SAU fam, for showing up. I apologize about the link. There was some things, so thank you for making it. Um, but yeah, it's time for us to begin to take the steps, right? Like, so we're this baby right now. We've been crawling for a while. We've kind of like mastered crawling, right? Some of us. But we're being asked to stretch. We're being asked to step out of the comfort zone. We're being asked to break out of these limitations and of the mind and the ego. You know what I mean? So it's very, very interesting. How many of you in here have ever heard of the saying "jack of all trades"? Right? Master. There's a quote that says, "Oh my goodness, I forgot to write this down. Let me pull it up for us real quick. Hold on. Um, um, cool. So the saying goes, "Jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than the master of one." Have y'all ever heard that before? One's in the chat if you ever heard that before. You have, right? It's interesting, right? Because many a times we're only hearing about that first part of the quote, correct? We're typically hearing about "jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than a master of one," or it's better to be a master of one thing. But the truth is, if you're a jack of all trades, then you don't master anything, right? It's usually how we hear it. We only hear that first version or first part of that particular quote, and that's by design. See, the problem with that is, she said, but not the ending, though. Facts. She said, yeah, all right, but cool, we there. Um, But the problem with that is that what you don't realize is though oftentimes better than the master of none, master of one, right? And let's be real, like it's really better to be really great at a lot of things than to just master one thing. Because if you master one thing, yeah, you'll be a great pro at it, which is awesome, right? But and oftentimes you can reach some level of success, but you're really limited in that particular space, right? If we look at things as like sports, if we look at basketball, right? What makes everybody know who Steph Curry and LeBron are, right? So we know that Steph Curry is a master shooter, right? Like he's great at shooting, but here's what makes him an elite player. It's his ability to handle the ball. It's the way he's able to shoot, not only catch and shoot, right? Like catching the ball and shooting it. He can also dribble and shoot. He can also shoot way past the three-point line, right? He's not like a mid-range specialist, right? He also has a great layup and floater game, right? He's very crafty with his ball handling skills. So when they trap him, he gets out of it. You see, so it allows him to be very. He's able to show his dexterity in a multitude of ways, right? But he's really elite at shooting, right? He's mastered his level of shooting, but he's also been able to do other things. So he's a jack of all trades in a sense, right? He's not necessarily a specialist, right? There are specialists in the NBA. We could probably name a few, like Robert Ory or whatever, who's known as a three-point shooter. You're not really getting buckets off the dribble, you know. You're limited to these few things, and so in order to be a great player, a great player, you have to be well-rounded. So why am I telling you this, and what the hell does this have to do with what we're talking about? Well, Spirit wants you to know that to stop limiting yourself in the way you are thinking about your spiritual work. Some of you are like, oh, I'm a tarot card reader. And so Spirit told me that I'm supposed to use tarot to build my, as my spiritual business. So now you think that you're supposed to be like Bahati Life, and this is no shade to her. Shout out to her; she's great at what she does. But if you look at her YouTube, this is she does multiple things. But let's say you're looking at someone like that who does tarot and on YouTube, and you want to emulate that, and that's what you feel like you need to do. But you're actually meant to do much more, right? Like you're not just a tarot card reader. Tarot cards are here as your foundation to get you in the door and to use it to maybe gain some particular information and skill set to maybe bring people to you. But you're more than just a tarot card reader, right? You're a medium, you might be a psychic, you might be clairaudient, claircognizant, whatever, clairsentient, whatever your gift is and how you're supposed to use that. So you might be surprised when you realize, like, oh, shoot, I'm realizing through tarot that I'm helping people emotionally heal. And then you end up actually counseling people, right? What you should and shouldn't do, right? What you think they should and shouldn't do, or what spirit is telling you what not to do. And then that might turn into like, wow, like other tarot card readers other people are interested in wanting to learn how to do tarot. So now you're realizing that, like, wow, my time is very finite here. I only have 24 hours in a day. How am I supposed to reach this multitude massive people, right? Like I could only do this amount of sessions a day, and there's so much energy involved in that process. And it's tiring, like, and people are like asking you, hey, like, can you teach me? Can you teach me? Can you teach me? And like Spirit is dropping things into your awareness, like, hey, you need to start a tarot reading school. And then you create a school, and then now you have a tarot reading university. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to limit it and think that, like, oh, I'm supposed to create a tarot card reading business and just post my videos on YouTube and people just pay me for readings. And they'll just pay me $1,000 for readings because, I have such a big following and whatever. Like, no, that's not what you're here to do. People have already done that. So understand that, like, you're here to do much more. That thing that Spirit gave you, that idea, is just a foundational idea. And you're supposed to follow the breadcrumbs and see how you can expand that as a whole. Me personally, I realized that, like, there's a lot of shit that I like. And part of that is because I'm a manifesting generator, right? And so, I want to get into fashion, right? Like I want to get some dope, like swaggy, gear and shirts and tees with like some spiritual sayings or meanings or mandalas incorporated into it with cool colors and just make it look cool, right? And this is no offense to anyone who dresses in a certain type of way, but like spirituality, like you don't have to be represented by wearing dashikis or loin or white cloths and robes and stuff like that. Those things have its place, and there's no disrespect to that, right? Like, do you? But I also want to make it like you come as you are. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't have to be in one box. We don't have to limit spirituality in any way. So what the mind does, right, and what your ego does is it constantly puts things in categories in the box for safety and processing. And so we got to begin to break out of those limiting mindsets. And part of what we're going through in this Chiron retrograde, if you haven't started to feel it, you probably will over the next several months, because I don't think it moves out of retrograde until December. Somebody can correct me in there if I'm wrong. You're going to have to face some things about yourself in ways of which you have limiting beliefs. And it typically comes from your trauma, right? And so one of the major um, conversations that we have, I think, for many of us, especially Black people in America and people of color in general, is this, for many of us, it's this idea around money and value, right? And so, like, we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. And I have some really dope videos that'll give some more visual context to it. But yeah, other things I want to talk about: self-sabotage before we get into the videos, and lack. How many of you have experienced self-sabotage and lack in your life? Can I get ones in the chat? If y'all have ever experienced something like that? Take a sip real quick. Make sure y'all with me. And feel free, it's for y'all in here. If y'all don't mind, like up the video. I appreciate it. Share it with someone that you think would enjoy it. Yes, ones. Okay, y'all with me. Peace, Steph, peace, Shamika. See y'all in here. Appreciate y'all. So, yeah, listen, self-sabotage is a mother. Shout out to you, occasional transients. All right, that's a dope name. OT, and we'll just call you OT. Um, yeah, it's self-sabotage is a real son of a gun, man. Yes, you did speak about this, and it's all listen, it's all purposeful, right? Like, truth is truth. Spirit just be giving these messages, man, and we just go with it. And it's interesting that many of us have similar messages because we're channeling from source. Like, this is what God wants us to know, right? Because this is everything is about purpose. Everything is purposeful. Well, I can't even talk. Everything is purposeful. Everything is about timing. Everything. This is the perfect time with Chiron and retrograde and this Leo season to shed light on these particular areas of who you are and how you show yourself to the world and who you should be. Like, this is all purposeful. And then you got the Lion's Gate coming on the 888 day, right? On August 8th, 2024. Crazy. It's going to be a great time to manifest and really step into this new portal, this new wave, this new dimension that we really want to be on, right? But in order to get there, we have to release those heavy things that are holding us back. We have to release our limited thinking, our self-sabotage, and our ideas of lack, because those things are so deep and it's preventing us from being big. It's keeping us in a trapped cage when we're meant to stand tall, right? We're meant to be huge. We're not here to play it small anymore, man. So let's get out here and get it. So here's some questions that I have for you. I meant to tell y'all to bring a notebook so we can do some journaling and stuff like that, and some things that I would like for y'all to journal on the next couple of weeks. YB says, shine like a diamond and be a shadow warrior. You heard? Oh, flex emoji on that. Let's go. That's a bar. 100%. Melissa says, yes, Lionsgate, 8/17/2024 brings it on twice. We get 2 powerful manifestation days. Come on. Thank you, Melissa, with the numerology. Love it. Yeah, I think they said the gate was open for something like 40 something days. I heard. I don't know if that's true, but that makes sense. That kind of resonates, the fact that, what is that, almost a week later, a little over a week later, you have another gate. So you have plenty of opportunities to use this energy to manifest the life that you deserve. It's time for you to step on to your greatness. Stop playing it small. Stop bullshitting. You know you don't need to quit your job today unless spirit tells you to. Follow that direction. But most likely it's time for you to start doing the things, right? Start writing that book. Start dreaming and putting those templates together for your classes that you're going to be teaching, whatever it is that get your recipes together for your herbs that you plan on, that spirit has been telling you to put these things together that's supposed to heal people. Just start doing it. Start doing the thing. It's time. It's time. Like, stop wasting time. Because yes, there's always going to be an opportunity later, but it gets more difficult later. This is the prime time to use the energy in your favor. And there's nothing holding you back but you. And we've been kind of talking about this, I feel like over the past several weeks. You know what I'm saying? And so it's very purposeful. That spirit is trying to pull this out of us and say, hey, like, listen, this bullshit that your mind is telling you isn't real. Don't focus on that. It's just feelings, right? It's just these negative emotions, these negative beliefs, these fears that aren't real, that are preventing you from stepping forward. And we're not going to be limited by that anymore. We don't have time for that anymore. Because if we jump on this wave, on this new energy that's coming, we get to catapult, right? And jump timelines. Don't you want to jump timelines with me? You know what I'm saying? Let's go together. I'm trying to bring everybody up this joint. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a great time. That's the way I feel about it. All right, cool. So here's some things that I would like for you guys to maybe journal on over the next couple of days or weeks, to kind of just help you get more in direction of what you are to do next. Okay, because some of us are like, we know we need to do, but we kind of forgot, or we kind of don't trust it. Well, here's some journal prompts that you can use to kind of help you do that. So, what are 3 ideas Spirit has given you in the last year? What are 3 ideas Spirit, your spirit team, your angels, God, has given you in the last year? Okay, so we're talking about visions, daydreams, inspirations, downloads. What are 3 ideas a spirit has given you in the last year? I want you guys to take some time, not today, not right now, because we're about to jump into some shit. Um, uh, to really just journal about that, right? Because spirit's already given you the vision. I'll give you an example. Today, just a little while ago, let me tell you how this limiting belief be kicking in. Spirit always puts stuff in my awareness randomly, yo, like, and it's all purposeful. And I just, like, my third eye be open and I just be seeing this shit like, oh, this is why. Oh, so I saw this dude, and on a reel on YouTube, I spent a lot of time on YouTube, by the way. He's talking about a time that he went viral, and he said his first YouTube check that he got was like in 2 months. His first check was like 150,000. And then he goes on to talk about what he did with the check, which is not important, right? But damn, instantly I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, I wish that could happen to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, jeez, like, some people are so lucky, like, all these kind of ideas. And like, why does my brain go to that? Like, as if I'm separate from that. That can very much be me. If it's very possible. I could just pop off at any given moment. All it takes is the right algorithm spike, the right person to see it, the right person to share it. And then it's just infectious. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, boom, the money's rolling in, and it's like, yo, like, how did this even happen? Right? It's very, very possible. But my subconscious, my belief in myself is just like, that's like separate from me, you know? And it becomes to be in this self-sabotage, like, I don't even want to post no more. Like, this shit, you become a little hater a little bit, right? Like, damn, bro, like, this motherfucker, like, I'm out here trying to heal people. I'm out here trying to help people wake up. He just bullshitting, talking about food. No offense. Or whatever it was. I don't even know what his content was about. But I'm sure it wasn't something like this, right? And I'm just like, but like, I'm really healing people, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Like, this is the chatter, the mental chatter, right? I'm being very, very vulnerable with y'all right now. And so I had to check myself and be like, yo, it's all good. Like, there's a space for you. There's more than enough people for you to help in this world. This can be an opportunity for you. Spirit didn't show me that to make me feel bad about myself and say that I'm unsuccessful, right? Like it's taking me longer than 2 months to get popping. No, Spirit showed me what's possible for me if I truly believe it. It's like, yo, we want this for you, right? We want this for you. All you have to do is take the steps, take the small steps, follow our lead, and we got you, and we will make this happen for you. But instead, I rejected. I was rejecting it, and I had to catch myself. So I had to start affirming myself and be like, yo, you got this, bro. You got this. Comparison is the thief of joy, as they say. That's 100% true. That's why you don't compare yourself. You don't compare. You get inspiration. That's what that's about. And let me tell you, the mind is so interesting. One of the things I wanted to share with y'all that I have written down here, and I was trying to find a visual for this, and I couldn't find the perfect thing. So whatever, just visualize it in your mind. But I don't remember where I saw this because again, everything is purposeful. Purposeful. Spirit just be putting stuff in my awareness. And so I saw this vision of basically like, I know I've seen this somewhere, either in like a parable or like some type of story or kids book or something. I don't know. But it's basically like this giant elephant has been raised in captivity all its life, right? When you think about animals, and this like little barbed wire fence keeping this elephant between that and freedom of the wild, right? But because the elephant has been raised in captivity all its life and it doesn't know any difference, right? It has a fear of going over the fence, right? Because the people that take care of it and take care of the grounds, it's like threatening it if it goes near the fence or whatever it was, right? But like, yo, it's an elephant. We know how strong elephants are, right? Some of them are damn near the size of the small school buses. They weigh what, 4 tons? Somebody can correct me if they're wrong, if there's any elephant specialists in here. But they're so strong. A regular barbed wire fence, damn, a regular chain link fence can't hold an elephant. An elephant would just bust right through it. But the mentality is trapped because it was raised in this environment all of its life. So the symbolism here is like us. This is no different from us. Many of us have been in the same cycles, the same belief systems for a really long time, and it just stuck. And you think that if you go over the fence, that something bad is going to happen to you, but because you don't know your own power, come on, man. Because you don't know your own power, you don't know how power, you don't understand, and you can't equate how strong you are. You let this goofy ass fence, this flimsy fence that you just get with one of your big ass, I don't know what you call it. You could probably knock it down with your trunk because I don't know what you call elephant feet. Just, you know what I'm saying? It's just barbed wire. It's not even electric. You hear what I'm saying to y'all? So we got to get out of this mentality. Only thing that's stopping you is you. You must understand your power. You must know yourself. Okay. You must heal. You must take the first steps. You must be that infant. There's no more time for the crawling. You done great. You started off as an infant. You were suckling on your mama's titty. Sorry if that's a little vulgar or not. And, then you went to holding your own bottle and you was on your back. And then you started rolling onto your stomach. You know what I'm saying? And then you started crawling, but you've been crawling for a minute now. You master crawling. Spirit is asking you to take steps. Spirit is asking you to walk. It's time for you to walk. It's time for you to go. Like, let's get to it, fam. It's about that time. And the only thing, just like that elephant, the only thing that's holding you back is because you don't truly understand your power, nor do you want to accept it. You're running away, and we're not going to be doing that anymore. So face your shit, yeah? But those of you who are just coming in and may have missed, we want you to use this question for journal prompts, and this will help you get to your next steps. What are 3 ideas Spirit has given you in the last year? So visions, daydreams, inspiration, What are those things? Write those down, journal about them, and then take action. Be aware of the fears. Be aware of the limitations, or I can't do this, or there's already somebody doing that. Why would then they're kind of like crap, they're running the space. They're like leading the space. No, there's a space for you. There's people that you're here to serve that resonate with you and you only, and may resonate even better with your voice, with the things that you have to say, the things that you need to express in whatever way that is. You just gotta simply do it. Yeah. I apologize. I was in my bag. I had to, so I didn't get the chance to read this. Let's see. Let's get caught up. Yes, we are supported in the time we tell ourselves that things will take for us to reach success is an illusion. 100%. Anything can happen at any day. Stay steadfast. Follow your spirit guides. Follow your spirit guides, fam. Straight up. Peace, Coach Shuni. Thanks for pulling up, yo. 120%. A lot of the times when you are feeling stuck, especially after you started going your journey and you're feeling frustrated, is because spirit gave you what you need to do and you're not doing it. I know I have been very guilty of getting information and not taking action. Yo, shout out to Britt. Like, we're having a conversation yesterday, and she gave me some really new pieces of things that I need to work on, right? Getting my things that I didn't even think about, right? Like, spirit spoke through her and gave me downloads. So shit I need to work on, like get my Instagram together, right? Like, I offer readings and it's not really on my Instagram. Like, the link is there, but like, I'm not really talking about like what that does to help you, how would I help you, what that process looked like. And I've had several readings at this point. So I know what I'm doing, but I still haven't talked about it. Why haven't I done that? I'm tripping, right? But how can I, if I don't speak about it, how can people really know that they're there? I mean, I can remind you on the lives, but let's be honest, most of my followers aren't here. So those are the little things, right? And so I can't be mad at spirit if I'm like, damn, spirit, like I need some readings. Like, you told me I need to do this, but where are the people at? Well, you haven't taken the steps that they told you to take. Message. Y'all hear what I'm saying? You haven't done the thing that they've asked you to do. You still have to take action. It's not like, oh, okay, cool, I posted this shit. All right, spirit, send them to me. Send them all. I'm ready. Like, in a perfect world, that would be great, but that's not real. That's not how this works, right? It takes a level of energy and flow and practice and next steps and upgrading in order to get you there, because you can't jump from point A to point B without specific things in place. Spirit's not going to do that, because then it won't be sustainable for you. It's just like we've talked about before. If you were to hit the lottery, most people that hit the lottery go broke, because guess what? They don't know how to manage money, right? If you win $1 million and the next year you spend $1,000,001, you're broke, which is what happens to most people. Like, they're literally spending everything that they earn, right? They're not investing the money. They're not thinking long term. They're like trying to buy everything that they wish that they wanted to have on their wish list to feel whole. And we'll talk more about this later, man. Oh my goodness. Let's get to the comments real quick. Laughing my ass off. It's not even in your bio. I went to go see if I would be able to book. She is right. Yo, that's crazy. How is that not in my bio? I thought it was, my link was up there. That's crazy. Yes, while preparing for my upcoming workshop, I began to ask myself in spirit, am I even ready for this? I was reminded of how much work I've already done towards it, and I was encouraged to keep going. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I love what you're doing. You're freaking crushing it, Melissa. I love it. And you are prepared. And that's another thing that I want to touch on, and we've talked about this before. Yes, congratulations, Melissa. Woo, woo, woo. It's another thing that we've talked about before. Like, you don't need anybody else to validate you. You don't need to go necessarily, unless spirit tells you to go back to school or to do a certain thing or to learn something. You already have everything that you need inside of you at this moment. So all you have to do is follow your promptings. Anything that you need will be placed along your way. So if there's something else that you need to learn, spirit will make it so that you learn it, or a teacher comes along, or an opportunity comes along where you can learn, practice, and do that thing. right? But for us, we've been programmed to believe by society that we need to have a degree in counseling. Like, oh shit, like I'm basically counseling people, so maybe I need to like be a life coach, a certified life coach. No, you don't. You don't need their piece of paper to tell you what you already know how to do. You can do this shit in your sleep just because you don't know the technical terms from Western medicine or whatever. Nah, you don't need that. Now, if you ask for it and spirit is like, yo, we're trying to get her to do this thing, and you're like, I just don't feel like, well, I need to do this, then you can obviously manifest that as an option, but it's just only slowing you down. You already had it. You're gonna go take this shit, you're gonna go to the class and you'll be like, yo, I already know this. But like that piece of paper gives you a false sense of confidence. And maybe you need that. So there's no judgment in that. Cool. But I'm letting you know. And you know when I say this to you on a soul level, like you feel this, you don't need any other certificate. You don't need any other outside forces letting you know that you can do this shit. You already know it. Period. All right. One of my things has been going back online. Okay. She's the truth. Gratitude, Coach Shuni. She's the truth. Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, Shuni, we know the vibes. Listen, Shuni, you know you got it, sis. We know you got it. You know your stuff. Every time I listen to you talk and you just going off the top and you're flowing, like you know it. You know it in your heart. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is. You know what it is. All right, cool. That said, I think we're ready for the video. I apologize. I wasn't expecting to take that long. Hey yo, sometimes I just be going off. So thank you for your patience, y'all. Real talk. Real talk. You're so welcome. I'm only speaking the truth, sis. Only speaking the mother freaking truth. You heard? So let me know while I'm pulling up this video, y'all. How are we feeling in the chat right now? Give me a rating from 1 to 10. If you're feeling like a 10, put a 10 as your best. 10 is the best. If you put like a 1, that means you're feeling low, and then we may need to have a conversation. How we feeling? How we feeling? What's the number? While I pull up this video and make sure that we are on the right path here. Sorry, the Olympics is on, y'all, so I don't know. I feel like I'm a Frenchman. I feel like I'm a Frenchman, yo. Ah, too funny. All right, Melissa said a 10. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and let us share this screen. Okay, maybe I should do it like this. Sorry. I feel like I've been doing this for a couple weeks now, and I should have this down pat, but whatever. What window do I want to share, and why is it not coming up? Son of a biscuit. Okay. Oh, it's because it's still full screen. Let's exit the full screen. There we go. All right. Okay, so for context, can y'all see this? Can y'all see this? I hope. Yeah, cool. Hopefully y'all can see it. It looks like y'all can see it. All right, great. So this video was a really dope video through a conversation that I got sent with my cousin, because Spirit just be putting stuff in my awareness, like I said. So we're gonna listen to the first couple minutes about this. So for some context for this particular clip that we're about to watch from this lecture, he just definitely dropping some gems in here that I wanted to share with you guys, because that's what we do here on Spiritual Gems. Duh, that's why it's called Spiritual Gems. You heard? So basically this gentleman was talking about him being a CEO of a company. He was like, he's from Harvard. He was like 25. He was a CEO of a particular company, and he was on some type of business meeting retreat. Didn't want to really participate, so he decides to go for a run. Gets runner's high, which is something that happens usually around that 3-mile mark. Like you just feel great, and so he's just enjoying his life, and he's listening to Rocky, and he's losing track of time. He was supposed to be back at, around lunch. loses track of time, goes back, doesn't realize that he's running towards the actual building where everyone was, where he snuck out of, right? This meeting. And so it's like the mirror kind of building. So he can't, it's not the two-way tint. So he couldn't see, but he's like literally like doing the Rocky Balboa like run, he says, and everyone sees him and he's like totally embarrassed by it. But it's a really dope message after that. So I just wanted to give you the context so you could understand what it is. So we're gonna start talking about mindset. Okay. So cool. Let's go.
Being shirtless in front of my entire company. So that was the first reason that run was memorable. That happened.
Can y'all hear this?
The second reason it was memorable was that I realized that I had heard this voice, which was my inner truth. And I made a promise to myself that day that I was going to continue to listen to that voice and I was going to continue to follow it, starting with allowing myself to leave that job. So I've been teaching here now for 22 years.
Okay, thanks, y'all.
I've met with so many students over that time. And what I realized is that you all have this, and all of us have this conflict going on at all times inside of us. And it's between two forces. And the first force is your survival instinct that's been with us for thousands, if not tens of thousands of years. And this is a thing that, that noise in the bushes that could possibly kill you. It wants to inject into you fear and doubt and worry and anxiety. It wants you to fight or flight. And that's kind of your voice of fear and your inner critic. And that's really loud. That voice is in your mind all the time. And then there's another voice, the second voice. And that voice has been written about and talked about by philosophers for thousands of years. And that voice has been called many names. It's been called your intuition. It's been called source, God, the universe, your soul, your true self, your inner wisdom, lots of names for that. That voice is a little quieter. And that voice isn't in your head. A lot of times it shows up in your body. It shows up in your heart, your gut, your chest. You feel that. And unfortunately, that first voice really drowns us out a lot of times. And the thing is that the voice of fear will lead you to a life that's too small. And you know this. You already know this. And the way that you know this is you feel this. You feel this conflict, this dissonance and tension when you're in that position, when you're doing something that's too small. If you want to reach full power in this one life of yours, it's in the second voice. It's in the voice that's the real you. This contains your dreams, your path. It contains your energy. And when you stop denying who you really are, there's really no end to what you can accomplish. So today, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about how to access this voice. And I'm going to invite you today to make 3 promises to yourselves as you get ready to graduate. You good with that? 3 promises. So the first one is a promise that's going to help you get unstuck. The second one is a promise that's going to help you find that voice. And the third one is a promise that's going to help you follow it. And then you can tap into this energy source, not episodically or randomly on a run sometime, but actually intentionally and regularly. And you can feel the full magnitude of what you can do in this life. So let's do it. So the first promise is.
Oh, really?
3 promises.
All right, great.
So the first one is a promise that's going to help you get unstuck.
Sorry,
the second one is a promise that's going to help you find that voice. And the third one is a promise that's going to help you follow it. And then you can tap into this energy source, not episodically or randomly on a run sometime, but actually intentionally and regularly. And you can, so let's do it.
There we go.
So the first promise is take the nail out of your head. This is the unstuck promise. So a number of years ago, there was a video of a woman, and she's talking to her boyfriend, and she says, I feel all this pressure. I have headaches. I can't sleep. And she seems like she's hopeless.
I'm gonna speed this up because it's a little painful in the slow period.
He looks a little confused, and he says, well, you could take the nail out of your head. And then you see she turns and you realize has a nail sticking out of her head. And it seems pretty obvious. And then she says, it's not about the nail. And she wants to talk about anything and everything except the thing that's actually going to make her unstuck. Unfortunately, this is also true with a lot of us. We are walking around most of the time with a nail in our head. Sometimes our nail is just as obvious as it is in this video. We know what it is. We're just not dealing with it. Sometimes it's a little less obvious. But our nail is the thing that's keeping us stuck. And until we remove it, we're not going to reach our full power. So nails can kind of fall into 4 buckets. The first one is bad habits that we have that are keeping us from reaching our full potential. The second one is unresolved past experiences that we might have had a long time ago that we just have compartmentalized and we haven't dealt with them. The third one is rules or assumptions. This is the way your life needs to go. You have to do this first. Your parents want you to do that. All these constraints we put on ourselves with our own rules. And the fourth one is fear. And it's fear that's keeping you stuck. So in my case, it was a job that I didn't like, but I was afraid to leave, so I stayed in the job. It could be in a relationship that you shouldn't be in. You're afraid to leave, so you stay in the relationship. Or it could be really any decision that you want to make, but you're afraid, and so you stay paralyzed. And these nails, just like you're thinking in that video, why doesn't the girl just pull the thing out, right? Why is this complicated? There's two reasons that it's hard to pull these nails out of our head. The first one is we haven't admitted that we have one. And so the first way to pull your nail out of your head is to speak your truth. So let me just give you an example of this nail. So I have a close friend of mine, and she has insomnia, and it controls her life. She can only sleep a few hours a night. She's tired all day. It absolutely controls her life. So she goes to the doctor, and doctor has her fill out all this stuff: what are you eating, what are you drinking, what time you're going to bed, all these different things. And the doctor says to her, "Hey, I have good news for you, or I know how you can cure your insomnia." She says, "Great, I'm super excited to hear that." The doctor says to her, "You could stop drinking 4 to 5 glasses of wine within an hour of you going to bed. That'll help your insomnia." And she says, "That's a horrible idea." She goes and sees 4 more doctors, and then she ends up with a plethora of medicine she keeps in her cabinet. And then what she does is she proceeds to build a helmet around her nail. So she basically has all these drugs she takes. She goes to bed at a certain time. She can't be out late. During the day, she needs naps. She's tired all the time. So her energy goes into protecting this nail that's in her head rather than pulling it out. The reason we don't pull it out, as I said, first is we haven't admitted to ourselves that we have a problem.
Wow. Okay. I'd like to pause there for a moment so we can unpack that. Yeah, hopefully that wasn't too fast. Him talking slow, it's just too much for me. But here he's talking about what we were just talking about, right? The feeling of being stuck, right? He uses the nail in the head analogy. I think I like the prison cell more, but whatever. But the point is the point. Like there's this area and thing that you're stuck on, and it becomes a part of your identity, right? Your ego identifies. So in this situation, he's talking about this woman who has insomnia. She's given the solution, like, hey, maybe you should dial back the drinking before you go to bed. That's going to help you fall asleep better. And she's like, oh, nah, I'm not trying to go with that. I don't like that solution. Right? The ego doesn't like that because the ego likes the drink. It's attached to whatever the thing that's causing the problem. And even though you're suffering, right? Your body is telling you like, hey, something is wrong. You're willing to self-sabotage and go take meds and go another route to help you go to sleep instead of just doing it the way that your team, let's say, is telling you to do it, right? So listen, this is a real problem that many of us have and struggle through. And so when you're on a precipice of your greatness and your breakthrough, that's when you tend to get the most resistance within yourself, right? And so this nail that you have, he's talking about, you create a helmet around it. You create a system to protect it because you find safety in this trauma. You find safety in this cycle. You enjoy still crawling. It's like, oh, I'm crawling, so I'm getting somewhere. But no, you can cover way more ground if you just walk. So imagine when you start to run, like, God damn. Right? So stick with me a little bit more as we continue through this for a couple more minutes.
So we haven't said out loud, I have a problem with alcohol, or I'm in a relationship that I shouldn't be in, or a job that's not giving me energy. So to remove the nail, the first thing is to start by speaking your truth. And this is half of the battle right here. The second reason that we don't pull the nail out is life is going to get worse first. So if you think of this as the pattern of your life, where at any given time, you're going to reach a plateau, and the path to get to the next plateau involves something that's going to get worse first. And these nails go on, and the way to pull them out is going to almost always involve something that's going to be uncomfortable at first, because change always is. So if you leave a job, if you end a relationship, if you try to address one of your really bad habits, things are going to get worse first. But the path to reaching the next height is really you're going to have to deal with that downward path first, and then you're going to reach another plateau, and you'll have another one, and this is a big part of your life. So just to realize that everything that you want is on the other side of worse first. Everything that you want is often on the other side of the thing that you fear right now. Think about the thing that you fear, and that's the thing you should be going at. That's where your work is right now.
Okay. So the plateaus, right? this feeling of stuckness on us, on some of us who are on the spiritual path and are maybe taking the steps toward it. When we begin to feel stuck or hitting a plateau, there's a reason for that, right? There's something that we're not seeing. There's something that spirit is pointing out that we need to be aware of, excuse me, or take a step or action that needs to be taken in order for things to open up for us, right? Like this is what that reminds me of in this particular situation and what we're talking about. Hopefully you guys are following me here. So it's like you get to a space, you get to a level, and then something comes up, and then you're like, oh shit, what am I supposed to do? Right? And then spirit might ask you to stretch again, and you're like, but that's uncomfortable. Like, come on, man. Like, can I just be here? Like, damn, I already told you I was gonna do this spiritual shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Can't you just like make it so? No, like you have to go through this process, and there's a reason for it, right? Because again, it's not going to be sustainable without it. And so you're going to feel a level of uncomfortableness because when your body, when your ego is attached to a particular thing, a particular belief system, a particular idea, there's going to be resistance. But here's the thing about this that he doesn't mention that I want to add here. It's not real. The resistance that you're having is just your feeling because you are not in alignment. This is your emotions telling you that you aren't on the right path. There's something that you're not seeing. There's something that you're not doing. So if you're like, yo, I'm stuck at this many followers, like, what am I doing wrong? There's something that you are doing wrong, right? There may be something, an idea that spirit gave you that they want you to act on before they can get you on this next level, before you then plateau again and then you do it again. And this is how you continue to ascend. Okay. And this happens, and Sister Myra talks about this, the spiral. You know, as you ascend up, it's like a spiral thing. It's like you're going up, but like along the way, you're gonna have these pauses and actions that you need to take in order to reach the next level, right? And so that's the same in emotional healing. That's why the shit never stops. It's always continuous, right? One's in the chat if y'all with me. Y'all a little quiet in the chat. Hopefully the chat's still working. Let me get some 100 emojis or something. All right, cool. Let's see, where is that next part? All right, great. So I'm going to jump into this next section, which I think is super important, and then we'll be done with this particular video.
So if principle one, if you want to live your life at full power, the promise I would ask you tonight or today to make to yourselves is to take the nail out of your head and do that work. Okay, that's the not fun one. That's the getting unstuck. So next is to try to find your energy. So we're tapping in that inner voice. First, we got to get unstuck. Now we got to listen to that voice. So promise two is follow your energy. And I say not your passion. Here's why I say not your passion. Because when I was at the GSP, and probably every speaker who stood up here had a moment in their speech where they said some version of follow your passion, right? Has anyone heard that before? And every graduation speech you watch will have that like injected in there. So let me tell you why that happens, first of all, because now I'm up here giving advice, and I'll explain to you why is that what every speaker wants to tell you. The reason is that, I'll speak for myself, I have spent a large portion of my life doing something for which I had very little energy, and it was tough, and it felt like a grind, and it just absorbed a lot of energy. I could fight through it with willpower for a little bit of time. And I've spent a lot of my time in an area that gave me a tremendous amount of energy, and there's no comparison. And so the speakers are trying to say, hey, come up over on this side, go to the thing that gives you energy. By the way, the reason that they're on the stage in the first place is that they made that decision. So that's why they're sharing this advice with you. But it can be very harmful advice to go follow your passion. And here's why. Because it implies that you have only one passion. It implies that you're supposed to know what it is when you're 28, that you're supposed to go do it for the next 40 years, and you're supposed to know how to follow it. And I don't think any of those things are true. At my firm, Alpine, we've invested in over 500 entrepreneurs who built successful companies, and not one of them followed that path. Even the people who will stand up and tell you that advice didn't follow that path. So instead, what I'm going to offer is for you to not follow necessarily this nebulous passion of which there's one and it's intimidating, but instead to follow your energy, whatever is giving you energy at the current time. So there's this exercise that I want to do with you today, which is called 9 lives. And the way it works is, imagine that you had 9 parallel universes that you could partake in. The first life is going to be the thing that you're doing right now. So for me, that was I'm in the corporate job.
Okay, I'm going to skip this part to get to where
life 6,
we need to go. So right now he's just basically talking about I'm just going to paraphrase it so we're not wasting the time watching it. He's just basically saying that, like, to be fearless, just act as if you have 9 lives and just fearlessly go after those passions. Just choose 9 passions, just blindly go for it and just see what happens, right? So we're just going to skip that part for this next part, which I think is the really, really impactful part, okay?
When you do this is you found things that you have energy for. Energy is the language of your soul. That second voice that I accessed that day on the run, the way that it talks to you is through your energy. It doesn't use words. It uses your whole body and shows you things for which you have energy. And that's how it's talking to you. So when you're...
Hold on. That's a gem right there, y'all. That's a gem. I don't know if y'all peep that, right? Your energy for what it is that you have energy for and what you don't kind of shows you what's going on within you. You need to be mindful of that. Some of us who struggle with knowing what we're passionate about, like, you know it through the energy that you have for it, right? Like some of us may not realize that, like, yo, you know, every time I get up to go to work, like, I just like, oh, I have no energy to do it. But then when I'm out with my friends and or I'm on the phone and we're talking about, you know, what's going on in politics and the spiritual meaning behind it and what's going on, like, that shit excites me. Like, I could just talk about this shit all day. Light bulb moment, like, wait, my arm's too long. Light bulb moment, right? Like, ding, ding, ding. That's a sign, right? Clearly, your job isn't what excites you. It's just something that you're doing, but you're talking about this particular thing. Why? What about that excites you? Right? You seeing things from a different perspective and a higher lens, right? And you're having conversations about it. And you're just like, you love this shit. You're like, yo, I would talk about this on a podcast. Like, I don't feel like I want to start my own podcast, but if somebody invited me on, like, I would talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Shuni says it makes sense. Also ties to human design. Bingo. Human design. And we're definitely, I feel like, gonna have a conversation about that. Because human design, knowing yourself and that human design piece is freaking clutch, man. Straight up. You know, this guy got me talking like that because oh my God. Anyways. Yes, that thing that we think we're supposed to do is not from us. It's from the divine. That's a fact, right? It's showing us and giving us signs, man. And so your energy is a tool that you can use to determine as like a compass of what really resonates with you and not. You know, there's some people, like, in your family, like, let's be honest, right? Or maybe like friendships that, like, yo, you're just like, yo, I go around and my energy with them is just like, you feel like it's laborious to be around them. That's because you don't resonate with that person. You're not really trying to rock with that person. Then some random person you meet, like, on the road, like, you know what I'm saying? You outside and you meet somebody, you just have a random conversation. You're like, yo, this person is mad cool. Like, we vibe. Like, I love this conversation. And you end up having like a 30, 45-minute random conversation with somebody. And you would never do that with that family member that you don't, because you don't really with them. You don't really rock with them. Y'all on the same frequency. Y'all see what I'm saying? So use your energy, right? And this is out. And I'm not talking about from a health perspective, right? Because some people just don't have energy for anything. And that's another conversation, right? There's some health things going on. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just being mindful and aware of just how you feel and the energy that you want to give, right? You know what I mean? Because everything is energy. So just be mindful of that. Yeah? Cool. Oh, shoot. Wrong window. There we go.
Excited about something, when you're excited about someone, when something is firing you up, it's your soul talking to you. That's its voice. So you've just created, with these 9 lives, 9 things that you're super excited about. So that's how you're going to listen to your soul. There's 2 things you can do with this exercise. The first is, as you're on path 1 and you're cranking away on path 1, pull something in from one of those other lives that gives you a tremendous amount of energy. So you could pull in playing the guitar, or playing in sport, or writing a book, or writing a blog, or teaching a class at Stanford, or all these things. And what happens when you pull something in like that is your energy will become infectious. You'll light a spark, you'll light a match, and that'll actually inflame the rest of your life with excitement. So that's the first way that you can use that exercise. The second way, which I think is even more powerful, is ask yourself this question: of all 9 of those lives, what would I do if I knew I wouldn't fail? Which one of those would I choose? That is, by definition, silencing that voice of fear and really getting in touch with that thing that is your most dear dream. In class of 2024, I would argue at some point in your life, that's the path that you want to be on. The thing you would do if you knew you wouldn't fail. And I think that's where you'll find your richest dream.
Bar. I feel like we should run that back. Did y'all peep what he just said? Yes, my human design informs me through my body's reactions to things. That's a fact. Yep. That's a fact. That is a gem, yo. Like, if you were to explore the things that you're excited about and then overcome the fears of them and what's on the other side of that, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment. How we feeling in the chat, y'all? Because I got some more to show y'all. How we feeling? How we feeling? While I pull up the next video that we're gonna move on to. But I hope you guys got something really dope, from that. You know what I mean? It just really talks about, in general, the importance of listening to your inner and higher voice, right? So there's this voice that comes to you and you get it clear and it gives you thoughts and ideas and whatever and inspirations. You got to listen to that voice, right? And so he also gave a key piece in that part of the talk as well, where he's talking about how to overcome self-sabotage, right? Knowing the energy language of your soul. Your soul is telling you what you have energy for and what excites you and what you should be diving into more. And when you begin to dive into those things that truly light you on fire, you have less fear around them. And it's easier to move past that fear. And then when you begin to think about what would happen when I begin to move past that fear, and it just like snowball effect, right? Y'all hear what I'm saying? I hope y'all with me. Awesome. I'm invigorated. I love that. Invigorated. I love enthusiasm. Shout out to Melissa, yo. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about value. Okay. So I got some videos that we're going to use to kind of like illustrate that point and to help just give us some more gems about that. Because, yeah, we need that. So this particular interview,
with HoneyBook, you can make sure
they're talking about the what is it called? The shifting of money and frequency from lack to abundance and attracting wealth, right? And this right here. There were some gems in there for us to definitely unpack. So once this commercial is done playing, because YouTube got to get their money, we'll get to it.
Get more time for the weekends for your.
All right, hold on one second.
So what is the thing there?
Gotta share my screen first. Yeah.
They have the most pain around. Is it their teams, their customers, the clients? Is it the industry they're in?
It's the calendar.
It's their schedule.
Yeah, and it's maybe the way they hired where they don't have the right people, or the thing they're selling is too complicated. And the more they do, the more their calendar explodes. So imagine you get an email where you could double your capacity, double your revenue, and you can't take that business on because that would mean more pain in your life, and you're already trying to get more time for the weekends for your kids or whatever it is. I mean, it's tough.
You're exhausted.
You're burnt out, and it's not the dream that you were sold. You sold yourself a vision of a future where the bigger this gets, the more time you're going to have and more freedom. And unfortunately, if you're not taught to do it properly, that's what ends up happening. That's what happened to me.
Sorry. Context for this. He's talking about business owners and what the number one issue that they have when they're scaling their business and what they face. They expect that because they are growing their business, that is just, most people, entrepreneurs, are trying to do things to create freedom, financial freedom, more freedom of time. But when you create a business, you become kind of busier, right? And then you try to scale it, But the issue then becomes that sometimes you aren't scaling it properly, your passion isn't there. And so he's talking about some of the issues that he's seen with some of his clients as he's a successful entrepreneur himself. But he's going to drop some really dope gems about value and time that I think that we need to really focus on, right? Because we talk about abundance, we talk about manifestation all the time. And most of the times when we're doing these things, we're speaking from a perspective of, I just want more money. But really, what really matters is in this manifestation process is what really money gives you, which is freedom, right? And some people, or many of us, still struggle with the idea that money is going to fulfill us. Because then if I can do this, then if I can get this money, then I can buy this car and I can buy this house and I can buy that thing that's going to make me happy, right? But realistically, it's really about your time, right? So a lot of people who are successful, they tend to have less time for the things that they want or to spend time in the way that they want, because their time is, you're sacrificing something in that way. And so you want to be in alignment with the very thing that you're supposed to be in alignment with, because your time will be more balanced, right? You'll learn how to scale in the ways that are best for you, right? But that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to add a little bit of context back to it.
3 things that I would say that people who've created wealth, and when I think wealth, I think of like time and just like the freedom, is first off is they understand the value of their time. So, and when we think about the value of the time, it's not how much you get paid for your hour, it's what do you think you're worth? So I learned a long time ago is nobody's going to get paid a penny more than they think they're worth. So
wait, what's the difference between how much you get paid per hour versus how much you're worth?
I think there's one that materializes in the minute. How much did somebody just pay me for what I just offered? And there's what do you think you're worth? What's your value?
Well, some people might say, well, I'm worth $1,000 an hour.
Yeah.
But they're not getting paid that.
No.
And is that delusional to think, oh, I'm worth this, but if the market's not willing to pay it, are you worth it?
Dude, it's such a good question. Here's why it's a great question, is because there has to be a belief you're worth more than what you're currently getting paid, so you make better trades. See, if you think you're worth 1,000, but you're only getting paid 100, then you're going to start thinking about your time differently, where you'll say no to things that don't even look remotely close to 200, maybe a $300 an hour opportunity, or you might decide to spend some money. See, most people spend time to save money. I encourage them to spend money to save time.
Yes. This is kind of how I grew up. This is what people do. It's like, we're cutting coupons, we're going to discount, we're waiting in line for an hour to like save money, whatever it might be. It's like you wait or you spend time to try to save money. But why is that the wrong way to look at it?
Because if we're talking about creating wealth, the only ways we can create wealth is by making that hour worth more. And this is what's interesting so the first part is worthiness, but the second part is increasing your value. So if you think you're worth 1,000, but you're only charging 100, or people aren't willing to pay you more than that, then you can say, well, how can I become more valuable? For me, the 3 areas I always look at is the character traits that I have, right? Like, you're not valuable if you're not somebody that can deliver on the commitments you've made.
Right. And so then are you worthy if you're not valuable?
Exactly. So I think that you have to start with the belief you're worthy, but then you got to back it up by action.
And by creating value.
Creating that value.
What? Developing skills.
So it's character traits first off, right? Like just being somebody that shows up, that honors their word, right? Be impeccable with your language. Second would be skills. Like what skill do you currently have that's creating value, and is there a way to upgrade that skill, right? Marketing, sales, etc. And then the third part, I think, is belief systems, right? So
what are the belief systems that keep people bankrupt or broke?
Listen.
I always look at 2 things. Let's say the goal is becoming rich. There's 2 parts of this. There's this limiting beliefs you have about yourself about being rich. And then there's the negative beliefs you have about the achievement. So both of those are in the mind. So think about like limiting beliefs is like, well, I can't do this. I've never done this before. And I know the person has those beliefs if I hear the language. And you know what I'm talking about. It's language like could, should, it'd be nice.
All right, 1, 2,
yeah. That language has the expectation of failure built into it. So that's the.
Whoa. Y'all, I hope y'all aren't falling asleep at the wheel right now. Like, that's a gem that he just dropped, right? Your language, the way that you speak about yourself, Shout out to my, one of my really good friends. We're having a conversation today, and I had to remind them, like, yo, because things that people say, oh, like when something's funny that makes them laugh, and they're not even laughing, like, I'm dead. Like, yo, you're speaking death over your life, fam. How can you be abundant if you're constantly speaking in this language? Right? Like, we celebrate deaf culture in the West. It's the stupid, it's the most unuseful thing, is the better way I can say it without judgment. Right? But the would, the could, should have, like getting stuck there. I am powerful. Not that I could be powerful if I did this. Like, you know what I'm saying? So watch how you're speaking to yourself. Watch how you're thinking about yourself, right? And when you get those negative thoughts, they're coming from subconscious programming. That's why those thoughts are in your mind, and they're coming up to show you. And you should say to yourself, like, yo, thank you, Spirit, for showing me how I'm still not loving myself as much as I should. And you know what? I love myself. So you're gonna give that countering thought and say, I am wonderful. I love myself, right? I am using the I am affirmations, right? I am going to do this. I am doing this thing. I am great at this. You know what I mean? Like, we got to start changing our language and be mindful of how we think. So even when you have the thought, as we talked about some weeks ago in the manifestation video, this is real. This is some real stuff, man. This man is a successful millionaire. Maybe not necessarily the spiritual focus, but the knowledge is there. The gems are there. Like, we just need to be more mindful of these small things and these small behaviors, and they can make a world of a difference. Let's continue.
Limitation beliefs, and then on the other side of the coin of the outcome is the negative belief. So what's negative beliefs that keeps people broke? The rich people are evil. There's no chance you're going to wake up to try to be rich if you believe rich people are evil, or rich people don't pay taxes, or rich people took advantage of somebody, or rich people are unhappy.
Because if you believe rich people are evil, you don't want to become that belief of evil.
If I held a knife to your throat and said, step forward, you'd be like, well, I don't want to step forward because I'll hurt myself. It's like, yeah, so you'll never push for the goal if you think the outcome is negative. So
another gem, fam. Whoa. Like, is anybody else mind blown in here? I hope so. Like, yo, even in the spiritual space, especially knowing the things that we know, okay, about some of the, let's say, the powers that were, and how they use their money and influence to run the world, and the so-called wicked things, right? Because this is the things that are in our mind that rich people do, right? And you see it in the movies, like the maniacal person that's willing to do any and everything and just wants more greed and he wants to take over the world. You have that shit in your subconscious, and you really believe, like, deep down, many of us, the reason why we have money problems is because we have a negative belief system about money. We look at people who are rich as they don't care about people. They're all snobs, right? They're all stuck up. I don't want to be like that. And then you're saying to yourself, but you don't realize you're saying to your subconscious, oh, I don't want to be rich. Because the truth is, money doesn't give a damn what it's used for. It is just a tool. It just wants to be used and multiplied. And so and Professor Melanie is one of the first people that I heard really say this, and it just really resonated with me. Cool. You have issues with how people are using money, then you go obtain the money and you go show them how it should be used. Right? If you're a billionaire, like, you want to end world hunger, like, that's a possibility for you. You create a system. You know what I'm saying? I know it takes more than $1 billion to feed the world, but I'm saying you can begin to make a dent in that, right? And still make it sustainable, or figure out something, or put money behind some type of research that creates some type of sustainable growth system in cities so that the poor people and the homeless can eat, right? And you funnel that, and it becomes like a tax break, and you're figuring out ways how to, become rich so that you can be a part of the solution. But when you just see there's a problem and you just blame it, and you're identifying that with judgment and saying like, oh, this person is effed up, or rich people are just so selfish, and famous people have to sell their souls to be famous. That's not always true. Yes, I'm sure it's happened. Yes, there are evil, maniacal people in the world, but you can be a good billionaire, so-called good, if you want to get into the judgment of that. Well, my point is, you get to use that money and resource for what you want, but instead having that attitude of blame, shame, guilt of these people creates blockages and negative affirmations and belief systems about money. And so on a deeper level, you don't want to be successful. You don't want the money because you believe that money is used for evil things. But that's not true. Melissa said 100. I hope y'all feeling me in this. All right, let's continue.
Work through those beliefs. That's what I call self-sabotage. Mm-hmm. The biggest work I do with entrepreneurs is understanding what are the unconscious beliefs they have that are literally self-sabotaging their progress to winning.
What are the beliefs that most people have around money that are holding them back then? Is it that money's bad, or people with money are takers, or what is it?
Yeah, I think it's anything negative. So, I mean, I know I had money beliefs around, I had this crazy belief that everybody had to go bankrupt.
That everyone had to?
In order to be successful.
Really?
It was this weird belief that I read Donald Trump's book, and I read a bunch of other people's books. And when you look at the history, they all talk about like, you know, if you're really trying, you're taking risks, and at some point you'll probably go bankrupt. So get used to it. So like, well, if I have that belief, how hard am I going to push to try to be successful if I've got a young family and I'm trying not to create pain in their life?
Yes.
So that one kept me playing small for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. The other belief is, you know, what will other people in my family say?
If I have money?
Oh my gosh.
Do you ever feel guilty about the money you have?
I felt so guilty, Louis. You've known me for a long time. I didn't tell anybody I had money. I was quiet about it. I didn't allow myself to buy anything nice until I was 30. I made my first million at 27, multimillionaire at 28, and it wasn't until I was 36 I allowed myself to buy a McLaren.
Dude, it's so funny you say
Isn't that crazy?
Well, it's so funny you say this because I still don't really buy myself anything.
All right, we're gonna pause there. Okay, here's something I want to point out, right? Rich people also have trauma. We have this thing that we think that like rich people don't have issues, they don't have trauma, whatever it is. Like, you see how that fear was playing out for him? This man wasn't allowing himself to enjoy his success until 10 years, damn near 10, 11 years later, where he goes and he buys this really nice sports car, right? And wait till he tells you the next part of it. It's going to be super interesting. But because of the judgments that come with what being in that type of car would bring to him, right? Like the shame of being successful. But I'll tell you what, in my personal opinion, I would rather I would rather deal with this shame, this so-called shame of people being like, oh, he has a McLaren, like, oh, he thinks he's this, all that, than to be broken a Pinto and be shamed for that. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Yo, what's in the chat if you hear what I'm saying? Yo, that's wild. But even they sometimes have traumas that they have to work through, right? This judgment of society. So just, you're gonna get judged whether you're on the top or you're on the bottom. Which one would you rather? Which one is gonna be more impactful for society? Which one will give you a more fulfilling life? I don't know. That's up to you. But like both of those things exist. All right. So just walk with us real quick. Thank y'all for responding. 111. Hey, both could be viewed as shameful things. 100%. All right, let's go.
I mean, I bought a nice home.
You bought a beautiful.
I'm buying like, you know, I'm not buying things to like show off that I have money though.
Yeah.
Like I don't showcase my home. I'm not like taking photos of it and posting it online and like, look at me. My friend got me a Rolex for my 40th birthday last year. I think I've worn it like 7 times. Because part of me is still kind of like, should I be wearing this?
Talk to me about that.
part of it is not my style.
Yeah.
I don't like
That's fair.
Part of it's like I just wear the same black thing, just like you're wearing a black t-shirt.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's part of it. Another part of it is I don't want to reject money coming my way by not wearing it, but it's also like, how are people going to? Are they going to judge me? Are they going to want more from me? Are they going to be thinking I should be doing?
Guys, we got to get out of this fear of judgment. This is probably the biggest barrier to us not putting ourselves out there. There's so many of us that be like, oh, I don't care what people think. Yeah, but your actions and the fact that you're not posting yourself online, that you're not putting yourself out there, that you're not doing what Spirit is telling you to do says otherwise. You are afraid of judgment. Oh, I'm not worried about the comments and the da-da-da. Yes, you are. You're afraid of being seen. You're afraid of being judged. That's really truth. You need to just accept that. And you need to work on not truly caring about it. You need to heal that thing that says, if I show up and I F up and I'm not perfect, then I'm going to be judged for it. I'm not going to be accepted. I'm not going to be loved, because life has shown you in your past, whether that's through your parents, teachers, school, friends, if you made a mistake, they were on your ass about it. You weren't allowed the freedom to fail. You weren't allowed the freedom to fall. You were embarrassed. You were shamed. If you made a mistake, oh, you're bringing shame to the family type energy. How could you bring home this many C's on your report card? You're not stupid. Look at all these other students. They're getting honor rolls. Why can't you do it? We want to be able to say, wow, wouldn't it be great if I could brag about you like this person brags about their child or daughter or son? Those are the traumas that are still there that won't allow you to show up. But again, like that visual I gave y'all earlier with the elephant in the behind that's been in captivity, like, yo, you simply just knock off the fence, because the truth is you are powerful. The truth is that you can do it. The truth is that you will do it, that you are doing it. You are capable. You will do it. You can do it. You just got to take the steps, because you have everything that you need right now to make that shit happen. So this man is like, yo, I'm not gonna wear this Rolex because like it just makes me feel some type of way. I feel uncomfortable in my abundance. That's wild. You don't need to feel uncomfortable in your abundance. Stand in your power. Be confident. You're not doing it to show off. If you like the watch, you like the watch. If you don't like it, you don't. And it's okay, because he's saying, look, I'm an understated guy. I'm not flashy. I wear the same thing every day and I love it. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? But don't let the fear of judgment stop you from shining, is the point. How many of you have had to play it small to make other people comfortable? Like, oh, this person talks too much, or this person is always dancing and showing out. This nigga always got to be the part of the life of the party all the time. And you just being yourself. And it makes people uncomfortable. And so after a while, you get beat down so much that you're just tired, and you just learn to just shrink. There's where these belief systems that we're talking about that we need to release. It's just in your mind. You got to let it go. That's not real. Shine, my friends, shine. Let's go. It's time. And I don't know who I'm talking to in here and who's in here right now in the future. It's time for you to shine. Oh, just saw a post by an African woman speaking to her parents about how children aren't here to make you proud. Profound. She said, who's making the child proud? They have to follow their own path. That's a fact. Listen, I'm from a Caribbean background. Our family, man, they just like school. You need to be like this, and you need to be in these roles, and you got to be successful, or otherwise you won't be able to have this and do this and have this type of lifestyle. There was no focus. There's no focus on what you're here to do, what you're passionate about, and what makes you happy. That's out the window. You could do that shit later when you retire. That's basically the vibe that the many international people and just most parents in general feel like, even in the West. So yeah, I mean, to Melissa's point, that's like, this is so true. But the truth is, like, if we were in our childhoods, if we were cultivated, if we were nurtured, if we were given that battery and that love and that support and saying it's okay to fail, give it a try, and taught those things, we wouldn't be in the space that we are now. But either way, that doesn't matter. As an adult, we are responsible for our own lives. And once you become aware of those things, it's immediately for you to put it into action. And yes, it's difficult, but it's only difficult because the mind believes that it is based on its previous programming. Your present is an effect of your past. And your past beliefs is what you're experiencing right now. So if you want your future to change, you can right now change your mindset and thinking around these things so that you can open up the world of expansion. And this is what we're being offered right now with Chiron and retrograde into this Lionsgate situation. Dive deeper, heal the ideas, the things that you've been told that aren't true, the things that were meant to depower you, to make you feel small, right? That time that you were showing out as a kid and they were like, yo, you doing too much, sit down. And maybe they just didn't have the time. Just let that go. Just be yourself, be your full self, fam. All right, let's get back to the vid.
It's just like, do I want to attract some type of judgment that is unnecessary? I don't know. It's kind of a lot of that.
Well,
I apologize. I don't pay for YouTube, y'all. So we're going to skip this.
So you said a few things that I just want to kind of pull up to the surface. One of them is I'm worried if they expect me to do more. A lot of people don't want to call their shot or live a bigger life because then that becomes the new floor they got to live into. Mm-hmm. So that's a fascinating one. It's like, well, I don't want to create wealth because then I have to maintain that. Mm-hmm. And if I lose, then people will visually publicly see me rise and fall.
Yeah.
That holds a lot of people back.
I'm not afraid of the rise and fall because I've been in the bottom.
But it's the judgment around. Yes, 100%. And like for me, it was, what would my family say? Like, oh, you're too cool for us now? Why did you get that kind of car? I remember, dude, I got the car.
Especially Canadian.
It was the only McLaren in the province I lived in. And they used to have to go to Montreal to get service. Wow. And I remember the first time I had it for almost 2 weeks. I didn't want anybody to know. It was in the garage. I wasn't even sure how I was gonna like be with it. That was really weird. And I remember the first time I wanted to go to the gym and drive it with my wife. We went and worked out every day, Renee, and she wouldn't come with me. Why? She took her car.
Why?
She didn't want to have to deal with what people were going to say.
I'm going to just let that moment breathe right there. This man's own wife was embarrassed of the success. That's crazy. And this is not to judge them. I'm just saying that, like, listen, do the thing. Even if your partner don't fuck with it, your parents don't. Sorry, I know I'm cursing today. I apologize. Let me say this in a better way. Even if your parents don't rock with it, even if your family is not with whatever it is that you're meant to do and here to do, you do the thing anyway. Don't be ashamed to be yourself. Be your full self. It is time to shine. It is time to bring that inner child out. It's time to be like, yo, if you want to wear this, you freaking wear it. And you wear it till you're happy. You wear it to show out. You wear it to shine. Who cares about what they think? You don't want to ride in luxury? Cool. Enjoy the Honda CR-V. No offense to anyone that has a Honda CR-V. It's just a very practical car that most of America drives. Okay? Y'all hear what I'm saying? Melissa said, yes, failure is a teacher to help you get the tools you need to go forward and what your soul is energizing you to do 100%, not to turn and go back to what doesn't energize your soul. Bars. Just bars. Shout out to you, man. This is just wild. Boo, leave him. Melissa said, I'll play this. I'm out. I don't play that. All right, we're almost done, y'all. Thank you so much for your patience. We're almost there. I just have another 2 parts to show you in the video. I really hope that you guys are having a good time. I'm having a wonderful time trying to keep that energy up. We're almost there. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's go. All right. So now we're going to go to this part right here. I want to talk about shifting from scarcity to an abundance mindset. I thought this was great to share. Let's get to it.
Oftentimes I'll talk about the chocolate and the broccoli. You know, people, you sometimes you have to communicate the chocolate because that's what people really want, but what they need is the broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
So the chocolate for a lot of people is success. It's rich, it's money, it's accolades, it's recognition, it's all that.
And what is it? And put a note on that. What is the thing that people usually want? Is it they want financial freedom? Is they want status? They want options? What is it people really want when they think around wanting more money?
I think the word that comes to most entrepreneurs when I ask them this question, and I run big events and I say, okay, why do we start the business? One word, write it down, go. It's freedom.
Freedom.
It's freedom. Freedom means the ability to do what you want with who you want anytime you want, which is interesting because it's a bit of a fallacy, right? Your work ethic is a byproduct of your gratitude. Think about that. I think a lot of people that think, well, if I was rich, I would just hang out on a beach and do nothing, drink Mai Tais. The reason why you'll never be rich is because that's all you would do with that resource. If you became the person who could become rich, you would have a different character trait you would not be like, I don't want to waste my day.
Yeah.
I've done this for 14 days in a row. How many more days am I going to just hang out on a beach and do nothing?
You get bored.
So it's fascinating that some people that are broke have a belief about what they would do when they're rich. And it's the reason they'll never be rich because that energy will never bring that to them, right? So when you say, what should they do first? They got to focus on the abundances all around them.
So start paying attention to abundance around you.
It's you can wake up and you can decide that the world has scarcity and negativity and lack, and you will find evidence of that. Or you wake up and you decide that the world is abundant and there's positivity and there is so much opportunity around me. And my job is to just keep my eyes open for the rest of the day and not because your frequency, your energy is what you frequently see. I want people to hear that. Your frequency, my energy is what I frequently see, you know? And I was excited. My boys came in here. I wanted them to meet you because you're one of...
Hold up. Bar. Yo. What you see around you speaks to what you want to see. That was such a gem. So if you choose to make your mind up as to kind of piggyback off of what we watched during the manifestation videos with Joe Dispenza, right? Like your mind, your control of your mind, your ability to say to yourself that like, yo, I need to be in a particular frequency. I need to be in a positive mindset. Tomorrow, if you keep saying every day, yo, tomorrow's gonna be the greatest day I've ever had this year. This is gonna be the greatest day that I've had in my life. The universe will reflect that to you. I've been doing that for the past, 3 or 4 or 5 days or whatever it's been. And like, honestly, every day has really been a great day. Right? Like, you literally have to be aware of these things and know that like, when you speak these things into your existence, the universe will provide those things in front of you. And then all you have to do is just be mindful of it and in gratitude of it. And then more and more of it will show up in your life. Melissa says, yes, recognizing the abundance all around me, even while in a shelter, has been one of the main things that has sustained me. Wow. I love that. Come on now. There's abundance even in that. There's blessings even in that. There's freedom even in that. So family, keep telling yourself, yo, these are just the little gems, the little things that you can do every day. Just start telling yourself. You can start today so that your tomorrow can be reflected. Tomorrow, I'm going to have the greatest day. I'm going to have the greatest day tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be the greatest day of my life. Just speak that into existence. Don't be afraid. I know it might feel a little bit of a on the pit in your stomach, but what if something goes wrong? It's cool. You're still going to be in gratitude because somehow, some way that thing is going to work out and it's still going to be the greatest day of your life because it worked out in the perfect way. The universe has no choice but to respond to what you believe and what you say. This is why you are the creator of your life. This is what makes you an extension of God, source, energy. So I want y'all to, hopefully y'all are writing that down, as that's a gem right there. Damn, I need him to say it again. Hold up.
I want people to hear that. Your frequency, my energy, is what I frequently see. You know?
My energy is what I frequently see. So if I want my reality to change, I must be in the energy of happiness, abundance, love of self, fulfillment, whatever. What can I do to say to be in these spaces? Some easy things, a one affirmation, and I want y'all to write the frick down. Tomorrow is going to be the greatest day of my life. Then when tomorrow comes, today is like the greatest day of my life. Oh my gosh. And then you're just going to start noticing like a whole bunch of great shit around you. Because it changes your frequency. It makes you feel good. Doesn't that make you feel good when I say that to you? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst and 10 being the greatest for y'all that are here, tomorrow's going to be the greatest day of your life. Tell me on that scale what number that falls in for you. Just type that in the chat for me real quick. $100. Rashida says 10 all day. Let's go, Rashida. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I love that. It just makes you feel good. These are the little things that you can do, the little gems the little nuggets that you can do to just simply begin to change your life, man. Just little stuff like that, yo. It's a mindset shift. It's a healing. It's a frequency change. You know what I mean? Let's go. Let's keep going.
I was excited. My boys came in here. I wanted them to meet you because you're one of those people where I'm like, Lewis is such a good and positive, like you need to feel that energy. So I'm never surprised when I meet somebody that's successful, it's positive, because of course they are. Because look at the way they look at life.
This is important.
So
we're going
the
into
first thing, any person, no matter where they're at, doesn't matter how much money they have or have nothing, they can decide, hey, in the last hour, did I focus on opportunity? Did I focus on gratitude? Did I focus on abundance? Or was I complaining? Was I seeing the downside of my situation? Like, one question I ask myself 12 times a day, Lewis, I've never told anybody this. Anytime I feel any lack, and it happens all the time, or frustration, I meant to be somewhere on time, I'm running late, or, my driver, something happened. I always go to this question: how can I appreciate even more God's grace and guidance in this moment?
That's cool.
Anytime. It's like a cleanser. I could be sitting here and I'd be like, oh man, I wish I would have had something to drink before I started or whatever. And I'd just be like, in my mind, I just ask myself, how can I appreciate even more God's grace and guidance in this moment? And immediately, see how it just changes the scanning of the world? Yeah. All of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm warm. Yeah. That's cool. Or, hey, I'm here with my buddy. That's cool. I'm healthy. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm breathing clean air. That's cool. I have resources. I have friends. I have rich relationships. I just got back from vacation. Like, as soon as you, and that's why I think questions are probably one of the most powerful tools we have. Because if you ask a more powerful question, you'll live a more powerful life. And that is my question. It's my primary question that I use to try to reset it. So it's not about like, go get another skill or character trait or change your belief. It's really about like, can you decide right now to see opportunity all around you? It's there. Yes. It's right there.
You mentioned frequency. How important is it for us to shift the frequency of our thoughts and our emotions in order to draw in more financial opportunities? And is money attracted to a certain type of frequency? If so, what is that frequency?
It is. I think the number is like 433 hertz or something. Like, I think I saw it one time. It's like the money frequency is 433 hertz. I don't know. I do know this. In my kids' playroom in our house, there's a chart, and it's essentially a spiral energy chart. and there's a downward spiral and an upward spiral. So the feelings on the downward spiral are all the things you would assume, you know, anger, frustration, sadness, or whatever. The upward spiral is things like gratitude and joy and laughter. So when we think of our frequency attracting, because I don't think we create success, we attract success. And Jim Rohn says this often, right? We attract success by becoming an attractive character. So
an attractive identity.
Yes. I mean, this is, I hope people can resonate with this. People want to do business with people they like, that are positive, that make problem/puzzles.
Sorry, I just got to say this. I just got to share this with y'all. Today was the first day I saw this video. Mind you, if you looked at our manifestation videos that we did the last, what was it, 1-on-1 or 1 or 2 at this point, I don't remember. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks now. That same spiral sheet that we saw in that video, what we're talking about is exactly what he's talking about here. And here's what's dope about this man. This man is putting his kids ahead. And this is something that when I do have children, this inspired me to do it, is like to teach them what manifestation is and what it means. They need to know, like, could you imagine how much more powerful of a life that you could live and lead had you known this in childhood, had you known this early in your life, how different life could be? So I'm hoping that you guys take some inspiration from that as well. But again, the synchronicities, bro, like what spirit be telling us is the truth, and they keep doing this over and over. Truth is truth. Truth can be repeated. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So I'm not BSing you when I put that chart up and say, yo, these frequencies, the higher your frequency, the better it is that you can attract. When I'm saying in the manifestation video, like, yo, take advantage of those moments when you're happy, when you're doing your love making, when you are feeling high. That's the best time to manifest, because you are a more vibratory match for those things that are of higher density or a higher vibration, and they will come to you faster, right? Like, just highlight this. And I just want to just hold on a little bit longer. They're going to talk about something that I think is also important to hear. So, so many gems in this.
An issue.
Easier. Yeah.
And oftentimes it's not even, do you have the skill to solve the problem? Is when you work on a problem, are you jovial? Are you kind? Are you funny about it? Do you take yourself seriously? Or do you crack a joke from time to time?
Yes.
Because that's what people want. I want to be around people that make life lighter, not make them harder for me. So I think that energy, that's why I tell the kids, because check this out. If you woke up today and you don't feel proud of where you're at, I can guarantee there was a day back in your past, 6 months ago, 6 years ago, doesn't matter when, where you went from an upward spiral to a downward spiral. And that one day, that one decision, it was little, where you got upset at somebody when you knew better. You didn't apologize. You should have been quicker to apologize. Something happened to you. You assumed that they were trying to be malicious. You should have assumed a positive intent. And you started a downward spiral. Isn't that interesting? Like, if you wake up and you're 20 pounds overweight, there was a day where you ate a little bit more than you should have, and you didn't go to the gym. It's never like the one day. It's the multiple days. That's why for me, that upward spiral, downward spiral, and the energy and that frequency, it's something I've been teaching my kids since they could understand language.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It's because, again, it's who you are attracts things into your world. The world isn't as it is, it's as you are.
But how come people watching and listening might say, that sounds great, Dan, and I understand that, but why are there so many wealthy or rich people who are nasty and are mean and treat people poorly? How do they have money still?
Because money is not, and Tony Robbins talks about this. He said there's a science of success.
Sorry, y'all. All right, we back.
So there is a science of being successful, and there's the art of fulfillment. He said there's a science of success, and then there's the art of fulfillment. So there is a science of being successful, just like there's a science for being healthy. And if you go into a caloric deficit and you do hypertrophy training, you will be ripped. if you sell something for way more than it costs you to make and you can scale it up, ta-da, you're rich. The art of fulfillment is completely different. And that's the world we live in.
But we're talking about frequencies also.
Yeah.
Like personality and frequency and identity and beliefs and attitude, which I believe also when I'm at a restaurant and someone is like just got the most positive attitude who's waiting on us, I'm like, I want to over tip, right? I want to give more because I appreciate and I value positive energy. So I value that. But there's a lot of wealthy people also who are mean and angry and short. Exactly. Yeah. And all those things, and just like, you know, the least amount of tip or whatever it might be. And so how do they get away with it, or how do they succeed in spite of a lower energy frequency in some way?
Yeah, it's such a great question, because I'm not saying you can't be successful or rich without it. It's just then you don't have the fulfillment.
Right. And it can be that, but then you don't have good relationships, and you might be sick inside.
Let's talk about what they have that the people that are looking to create and have impact and have more fulfillment should consider. It's the worthiness. See, that person that uses what I call dark energy to create, and I used it too in my early 20s, proving all those people that second guess me. I'm going to show them. I'm going to win so big that it's going to be undeniable that they were wrong. Like, that was a very dark, like, kind of diesel.
It drives you.
It was powerful. It's got a lot of torque. Problem is, it eats at you. It's dirty. It feels hard. And I think that's why you see a lot of billionaires want to be Buddhists, but you don't see any Buddhists who want to be billionaires.
Because they got the fulfillment. They don't need the money to feel good.
They don't realize that I could have felt good the whole time.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful place to come from, right? And so what I would encourage people that want to be more full of positive energy and be successful to consider is just know that you're worthy of it. Because it doesn't matter how great of and we all know these people, they're so kind, they're so giving, but almost to a fault, right? They create opportunities for people all the time, but they don't feel worthy of getting a piece of it or participating in it or collaborating around it.
Wow.
So they lack, I have a friend, a mutual friend that I know, he's given to me for 15 years. And I continuously ask him every year, when can I help you? And he's just like, it's all good, man. I don't want to bug you. Wow. Dude, that's not cool. Like, for real, man. Like, I really want, and now I'm like kind of upset. It's like, hey, man, do you think my help ain't good? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on?
Right.
So I do think some people can be financially successful, but when it comes to the art of fulfillment, that takes a different path.
All right, family. Let's unpack that for just a moment. Like, I think that was I don't think there's much I need to say about that, but that's real. So what you're seeing is there's two sides to the coin, right? You have this aspect of people who we look at these people that we look at with judgment who may be successful, right? The people who maybe use their power and influence and greed. It comes from a place of lack. Also, just a different energy of lack, right? It comes from a lack of fulfillment. It comes from a dark energy is what he called it, right? He was able to build success in his early 20s by using doubt and the haters as his motivation to be successful. That is a way that you can get wealth. But what did he say? He realized it took so much energy. It took way more work. It weighs on you differently. And then when you get to this so-called place of success, or you get this level of money that you truly desire, then you're still missing something. And so the art of fulfillment is different from the art of money. So when we start looking at these people and we're like looking at the judgment of these billionaires and trillionaires out there and how they're misappropriating funds and doing all types of so-called wicked things and oppressing the rich, oppressing the poor, right? Because there's this idea in capitalistic societies that, like, in order for the rich to stay rich, then there needs to be a poor class. And that may be somewhat true, I guess, in how it's been playing out, but that doesn't have to be true for you. You can actually be one of the people on the top doing the wonderful thing and doing the work, right? And so there's two ways to get to this thing. So you can be in this so-called dark energy if you want, and you will have some type of level of success, but the cost of unhappiness and unfulfillment, you will never be satisfied. You will honestly always have to keep doing more and more and more. So you may start, I don't know, buying up all the crops in the US and farms in the US because you want to monopolize food, because you just feel like the money that you have isn't enough. You want more power. And because like once you get a little power, it becomes a little addicting, but then it's fading. It's not sustainable. But you see, that's the type of person who's super, super insecure. When you feel like you need to control everything, when you feel like you need to have everything and monopolize everything in order to be successful and not want to share it, right? That speaks volumes. All right, listen, I've taken enough of your time tonight, y'all. I had another portion of the video, but my energy is running low. I'm sure it's the same for you guys. Thank you so much for kicking it with me for this long. I apologize for being late and like the little mishap that we had. For some of the new people in here, shout out to Rashida. Shout out to you. Shout out to the OGs. I Am Awake. Melissa, Brittany, Coach Shuni, Shamika, wherever you at. Like everybody who was able to make it. I appreciate you all so much. I really hope that you guys got some. Actually, let me ask you, have you guys gotten some gems in this one? Let me ask for some feedback before I let you go. I got some claps. Oh, I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Melissa. And the support. I really appreciate you guys. I really just hope that you got something from it. Looks like the chat's a little slow because I'm probably still sharing the screen, which is for some reason it slows down the chat, I realize. But absolutely. All right, bet. I love it. I love that y'all got some gems. And man, thank you. Many gems shared. Word. I appreciate you, Ashita. Listen, y'all, thanks for showing up to join me today and to go on a journey with me. Remember that question that I gave you guys. Hopefully you guys wrote that down. Remember to, follow your spiritual guidance, right? Like when you are feeling stuck, there's a reason for it. Your environment and your frequency is not in the right place because you are out of alignment, right? So how do we get back in alignment? Well, we use affirmations. We go back to spirit and ask spirit, what is it that I'm not seeing? You go back to your memory banks. You go back to your notes and your downloads that you wrote about what spirit told you and the ideas that they gave you. And you start working on those things and you just take the steps, right? It's time for us, as a reminder again, where we've been crawling and it's time for us to walk. Yes, thank you for doing that, Brittany. That was such a great idea. Yep. Thanks, Britt. She put up the journal prop for us. Start there. If you don't know what to do next and you're unsure, start there with this journal prompt. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to get you where you need to go. And then just fearlessly follow it. Everything that you want is on the other side of fear. And we know that the fear isn't real. It's just your subconscious beliefs playing out, right? So if you want your current situation to change, the things around you to change, and you deserve better, you've been playing it small, right? Because of the people who don't want to hop in the McLaren with you. All right? Lead them, let them walk. Eh? Let it Ross walk. They don't got to jump in the whip. You don't got to come with you. It's okay. Someone else will join. I will be happy to join. Shoot, when you have a McLaren, you hit me up. I'm coming in the passenger seat easy. We can go to the gym together. Let's go. We'll get there faster. But yeah, anyways, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Spirits, I have another message. And this was another good one. So thank you. I appreciate you. And much love. You guys have a great week, okay? Oh, and also don't forget the other affirmation. Jesus, what was the other affirmation? Oh, It was about tomorrow. What did I say? I'm sorry, y'all. My brain is like fried now from channeling. What tomorrow's gonna be the greatest day I've ever had. I challenge you to say that and just see. Just see. Just test it out for the rest of this week. See what happens when you just simply say, yo, tomorrow's gonna be the greatest day of my life. And then y'all let me know next week how that changed your life. All right, these are yo. I need to start charging people for this, yo. This is crazy. This is like more than. Anyway, sorry, that's my ego wanted. Anyway, all right, love you guys. Remember those two things. I'll see you next week. We out. Peace.